You are about to enter the Red and Rev Sports Show experience. Get ready for some real sports talk from some real sports fans who were real sports athletes who have sports knowledge.
What's up, everybody? Welcome again to episode 194. And I am full of lots of different emotions this morning. It's been a really emotional week for me. But this morning, so many different emotions I'm going through. First of all, I'm continually amazed at the NBA coaching carousel that happens every year. I might be a little satisfied with the all NBA selections. I am angry with my Hawks. I am surprised by the Clippers. I'm frustrated with my Braves' inconsistencies. I'm so tired of all this NFL drama before the season even begins. I'm optimistic about the 12-team playoffs in college football. And finally, I am happy that I get to express and unleash all these feelings for episode 194. Red, Rev, and Coach, I got a feeling it's time to begin.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Red and Rev Sports Show. We're coming to you live from the ATL Show. Giving you real sports talk because we are real sports fans who are real sports athletes who have what, gentlemen? Real
sports
knowledge. So come on, hang out with your boys, Red, Rev, and the coach for a few moments as we give to you episode 194 of the Red and Rev Sports Show. And as is our sports custom on the Red and Rev Sports Show, we turn our numbers attention to our very capable coach who's going to give us something or someone related to 194 that does not include the Pittsburgh Steelers. So what you got for us, Coach Patrick Thomas?
I don't know where this Steelers band keeps coming from, but that's okay. We're going to roll with it. Number 94 is a guy who has been around, who was around the NFL for a long time. He played consistently great football for the San Francisco 49ers, and he was the first player in NFL history to play on 5 winning Super Bowl teams. I'm talking about number 94, one of the best defensive players, Hall of Famer, Charles Hayes, the first, number 1, to play on 5.
All right, Charles Haley, 194, star not only with the San Francisco 49ers, but also went to the Dallas Cowboys for a little time and did some work there in Dallas as well. So thank you, Coach, for adhering to the Pittsburgh Steelers ban on numbers and giving us something or someone in this particular situation outside of Steeler Nation. So thank you, sir. Job well done. Job well done. How you gentlemen doing real quickly?
Cool. Everything's cool.
All right. And we got at least one Revanite who's in the house. Let me just welcome the Revanite Nation. Hopefully they'll come in at some point. We know that there are some storms that are brewing. So maybe that may be cutting back on some of the Revanite Nation's presence on today. But we're going to welcome Revanite Nation anyhow. And at least there is one representative in Revanite Nation, and we see that Vincent Woodruff is holding it down. What's up with you? Glad to see our favorite coach, favorite pastor, and favorite antagonist, my entertainment buddy, Redrick. And Vincent Woodruff said 94 is my high school graduation. That year, that's my number to go along with the great Charles, the man, Haley, straight beast. All right, man. All right, you graduated a year before me. All right, good deal. And thank you for representing Revanite Nation. Good morning, Sister Sylvia Harris. Glad to have you. What's going on, Joe Black in Jacksonville, Florida? All right, and good morning to you, Vincent Woodruff, again. And indeed, we're going to be safe. And Sister Ellie Vaughn Williams, good morning to you. Glad to have you. Feel free to hit the share button, let somebody know what you're watching. We got some real good sports talk coming your way on today. Of course, we're going to be very heavy with NBA talk, for we know NBA talk is the major sports talk going on here, especially in the ATL. And also we know we are in the heat and heart of the NBA playoffs. For a couple of teams have already punched their tickets to the Western Conference Finals, and in the Eastern Conference, we have 2 Game 7s that are on our way, and then we're going to get to a conversation that we did not get to last week, the 12-team playoff proposal. So that's going to come up on the second half, and then also during the second half, we're going to deal with the All-NBA teams that came out, and also the coaching carousel that has begun in the NBA. So buckle your seats, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot of good sports talk coming your way. And as is our custom, we're going to start our show, and I won't make the same mistake that I made last week, getting ahead of myself, for almost got taken off as the DJ of the Red and Rev Sports Show. So we're going to make sure that we definitely start the show with Dope Nope, and Cope. All right, let's get ready to get started. Coach, we'll start with you. What are you doping on this week, sir?
I'm doping on the soccer player Denmark's Christian Eriksen, who almost lost his life last week having an episode. He was able to surprise it and visit them in the middle of a training session, and they all get a hug. So we're glad to see he's doing all right. So my dope moment is for Christian Eriksen.
All right.
Excellent. Absolutely excellent.
Red, what are you doping on?
Not too much this week. Yeah, it was hard for me coming up with something to be doping about this week. Too much happened that I was happy about. I tried to find a little something. I guess I'll go with LaMelo Ball winning Rookie of the Year like you and I correctly predicted before the season. This kid, he got hurt mid-season, so the chances of him winning the award was kind of up in the air, especially with Ant-Man showing out the way he did in Minnesota the second half of the season. And I still got to hear these press conferences. I still got to hear some of Ant-Man's personality behavior. Let me wrap it up. I know it's dope, no coat, but dope LaMelo Ball for making my prediction come true. You had a great rookie season, yo, man. You proven to be better than your older brother. So good luck with the rest of your career.
All righty, Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and I am doping on a guy that I've been very critical of during the course of the season, but he has gotten into territory that only one other player in NBA history has gotten into. And I'm going to get dope on Trae Young, being one of only two players, with the other player being Oscar Robertson, the Big O, to average 20 points and 10 assists through their first 10 playoff games. So I know I've been very critical over the year on Trae Young, but he definitely deserves my dope moment for this week, being in the company of the Big O, Oscar Robertson, to only be the other person to average 20 plus points and 10 assists.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Red, what are you noping on?
Now, this was I had plenty of candidates for this one right here. I could narrow it down. I mean, it was so much I was noping on this week. I guess I narrowed it down, but then something happened last night. Just took all my notes off the rack. I'm just going to go on this one. I'm noping on Rudy Gobert. Dude, you win Defensive Player of the Year. You didn't make the playoffs last year. You were crying about it, crying to your mom about how they left you off the playoff team. You win Defensive of the Year. Utah had made the finals, and I don't know when. And, dude, you got the Clippers right there on the brink of elimination, because you know if you get it back to your house in Game 7, that you pretty much going to win. You're up by 25, and Lord have mercy, did Reggie Jackson just abuse you in a pick and roll yesterday? Dude, you are 7'1". Reggie Jackson might well be my height, going around you like you are nothing, and you were nothing yesterday, man. That was a straight pump performance by the Defensive Player of the Year. You let Reggie Jackson pretty much abuse you, which definitely contributed to y'all losing. Rudy Gobert, dude, I'm done. Don't ever cry about nothing again. You're soft. You're cotton candy. Done with you, dude.
Epic fail.
All right. And I am noping on all of the big leads that teams lost this past week in the NBA. We are learning the harmful effect of shooting three-pointers while you have big leads. There's a reason why coaches would tell you, get the ball down low, take the ball to the basket, run your offense. It would be an anomaly back in the day for teams to lose big leads. But we saw at least 4 teams lose big leads this week. One with the Bucks versus Nets, where the Bucks lost a big lead and the Nets came back and won. 2 with Philadelphia losing games 4 and 5 to the Hawks, losing big leads of 18 plus Then last night, the Jazz losing a 20-plus point lead to the Clippers, which ultimately allowed the Clippers to go to the Western Conference Finals. There is a reason why you don't sit there and shoot threes with a big lead, because you give a team a chance to get back. So I'm noping on all of the big leads that were lost just this week in the NBA playoffs. Coach, what are you noping on, sir?
My note moment goes to one Cole Beasley for the Buffalo Bills, who said that he is not vaccinated and he's not going to get vaccinated. Cole Beasley, and then he makes a statement: I may die of COVID, but I'd rather die actually living. Cole, how hard is it to take a couple shots in your arm, dog? They're not asking you to go under a knife and have surgery. Getting vaccinated is something that's helping you as well as others. And I got a number for you, Cole Bees, whenever you get finished. 600,000 people. And I'll leave it at that.
Oh, come on!
All right.
And that awful Shawshank Redemption comment he had too, dude. That comment was just as dumb as your actions.
All right. I am coping on the fact that there, as I posted last night, there is a heavy Matt Ryan spirit on the city of Atlanta. A spirit of can't close. We know Matt Ryan's history of not closing game, NFC Championship, Super Bowl, just 2 games this past season, back-to-back losses against the Cowboys and Bears. Then we see last year, the Atlanta Braves could not close against the Dodgers to go to the World Series. And we see last night the Atlanta Hawks could not close a home game where Joel Embiid had a subpar game and they could not close. And it's clear the spirit of Matt Ryan is all over the city of Atlanta. And I am coping on that reality. Coach, what are you coping on, sir?
Well, I'm coping for Naomi Osaka. She recently announced that she is not playing Wimbledon. She's going to play the Olympics. She's not. The fact that she needs just going to take some time to spend with family and friends. And I'm hoping that, her decision is her decision. And if she's coping with something, I'm hoping that she's able to get it together. And Wimbledon, you got to cope without having the number 1 player in the world being there.
Yeah. I'm going to save a soundbite. I don't know which one to play for that being appropriate. So I understand that is a tough loss for the tennis world and also for us who like to watch Sister Naomi play. All right, Red, what are you going to cope on, sir?
Well, it's not me who has to cope, but I'm sure John Collins and Dennis Schroeder have to cope with their agents and these big gambles they took before the season. Because, dude, Dennis Schroeder turning down $80-something million and John Collins turning down $90-something million. I hope you guys really know what you're doing, because y'all might not ever see that type of money again, especially you, John Collins. Dude, max player. We already knew Dennis Schroeder ugly, but wasn't no max player. But John, you almost fooled us, man. Nah. Role players, mediocre players, second-tier contracts at best for both. No max for neither. Sorry, guys. You have both been exposed.
All right. You have heard our dope, nope, and copes for today. Now it's time to go to Revanite Nation to see what the Revanites are talking about as they dope, nope, and cope. Let's see what they're talking about on today. I see they have come in. We got a few. Thomas Holcomb is checking in from the Catfish, Newland, and Disco Dance in Dolphin Palooza at Lake Oconee. Oh, my goodness. The catfish dueling and disco dance. My Lord. All right, man. Good morning to you, Chris Traylor. Glad to have you with the Red and Red Sports Show. Vincent Woodruff is doping on Sha'Carri Richardson, jogging to a 10.84 in the 100-meter heat trials this week. I think this young lady is an African speed goddess. Can't wait to see the damage she inflicts in Tokyo. By the way, she averages 24.2 miles per hour. My goodness, that's a lot of speed right there. That goes back to what me and Red used to talk about. Speed, and what? More speed. Yeah.
I've been able to say it for years.
Yeah. Miss Ellie Von Williams is doping on the 5th rated Hawks, are giving the 1st rated 76ers a run for their money. Go Hawks. All right. What's going on, Miss Kelly Nicole? Glad to have you. Vincent Woodruff is noping on Jordan Willis, defensive end for his 49ers, suspended for the first 6 games of the 21 season for violation of the PED policy. That's terrible right there. Joe Black doping on Atlanta, coming back for a change. All right, so he's happy with the comebacks of the Hawks in Game 4 and Game 5. And Joe is showing some love to Kelly Kell. So we won't put up you all's personal conversations on the comments. Joe Black noping on the loss of sound for fundamental basketball. You know I'm all with you, Joe. Being a doggone former coach myself, man, it's terrible looking at that in the pros. Vincent Woodruff says, you're right, Red. 3-pointers equal short possessions and long rebounds, recipe for a disaster. 76ers had to be kicking themselves the other night, giving the Hawks life early this week. They had to kick themselves twice, and they dodged a major bullet last night. They made, man, I tell you. But nevertheless, Vincent also says, Cole Beasley, no one even cares about you, Buster. Kim Mulkey must be his auntie. That's the coach now at LSU, formerly at Baylor. Meanwhile, 750K families are out there begging to differ. Donkey of the day. All right. And Kelly says of Sister Speed Goddess that Vincent called her, he's only going to do the Olympics. Naomi. I'm sorry. Talking about what coach. Naomi is only going to do the Olympics. I don't know what Naomi's going through. I hope she's okay. No doubt about it. Vincent Woodruff is hoping that the Madden curse avoids Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, who will be featured on the cover this year. Yeah, you see Coach is wanting that definitely to happen on Patrick Mahomes, so his Steelers have a better chance of trying to go to the Super Bowl. Vincent Woodruff is noping on the behalf of Rebonite Nation. Vince Wilfork's son stealing over $300K of his father's jewelry, including 2 of his dad's. Man, what kind of child is that? That lets you know that there are some mental health issues or some habits that are going on that Vincent Wilfork's son needs to be addressed, as Joe Clark would say, expeditiously. Sister Sylvia Harris is noping on the NBA's culpability in the injury-laden playoffs, open too soon. Sounds like LeBron Night Nation has made it to the Red and Red Sports Show. Joe Black is coping on behalf of fellow Rebonite Armani. I'm coping on Ben Simmons not developing any offensive game. I know Armani would definitely be giving you an amen to that, Brother Black. Sister Sylvia Harris doping on the Clippers rising to the occasion without Leonard. Yeah, that's real talk right there. That's real talk. Nobody saw that one coming. Even without Kawhi, I remember you saying that. All right. All right. I thought I had to pause before you start patting yourself on the shoulder right there, Coach. All right. But they did do it. Also, Coach, the Hawks having to pay Bogue the next few years. That's a dicey one right there. We'll get to it. Laugh out loud at Coach on the Madden cover thing. Yep. Rev, that's called an ungrateful child, period. Yeah, there's some ungratefulness, and I'm sure there's some other systemic issues that probably have to be dealt with that situation, because I don't think anybody just wakes up in the morning and decides to steal $300K of possessions from the parents. I think there's some deep-rooted issues, and who knows, maybe systemic from childhood. But we pray for the Wilfork family because they definitely are standing in the need of prayer. And with that being said, let's get right into it. No need to delay the inevitable. This sports show, rather, is going to be heavy with sports talk about, you all know, my favorite sport. I love the way they dribble up and down the court.
Now lately you haven't been loving it.
We're talking NBA playoffs, Reverend Nation, and the Reverend Rev Sports Show. And as we talk NBA playoffs, we got to start with the disaster last night. The 5th seeded Hawks had a chance to close out the Philadelphia 76ers. They started out on fire. Looked like a blowout was going to come to fulfill the prediction of Red that he posted on his Facebook, where it was going to be a double-digit victory for the Hawks. But then Seth Curry, Tyrese Maxey, they said, not today, Hawks. And even in spite of Joel Embiid's some subpar play, somehow, some way, the Sixers come out victorious 104-99 to send the series into a Game 7 that will take place in the city of brotherly love, which will be showing no love to the Atlanta Hawks on tomorrow. So with that being said, Red, I'll start with you. You are probably the biggest Hawks fan on this panel. So what did that loss do to you on the loss on yesterday do to you? Do you think also, secondly, that the Hawks have a real chance of pulling out Game 7 in Philly? Talk to us.
Okay, what did it do to me? It disappointed the crap out of me, and I want to use another word. But yeah, I'm just disappointed, Rev. You know, we got get everybody in the city all hyped up, and they start out, like you say, completely on fire, which probably was a detriment to it. They probably shouldn't have started out so fast because it seemed like they lost a lot of the buzz and their adrenaline as the game went on. And what do I always tell the Hawks? These doggone scoring droughts, man. You cannot go minutes in the playoffs without scoring. That is the number one. Not only is the 3-point shot killing these teams, it's these teams who can't score in critical times. They'll get leads and all of a sudden go 2 and 3 minutes without making a basket. That's not going to happen. And I mean, that can't happen, and that's not going to work, okay? So it's the scoring droughts, it's the 3-point shots when you get the lead. Last night for the Hawks, it was the multiple missed free throws all over the place. 2 of our starters didn't even show up. Collins, 30-plus minutes, 7 points. Bogey, 30-plus minutes, single-digit points. Bogey, really, his shooting has just been completely awful in this series. And like I say, Lou Williams showed out in Game 5. Didn't do anything last night. I don't even think he scored a point. If I ain't mistaken, did he? He didn't score a point, right?
I don't think so.
0. Yes, coach 0, exactly. So, like you say, the Hawks just really, a lot of key players for the Hawks laid an egg last night. Trae Young, he showed up. He was all by himself last night. Trae Young has really been impressive, like you mentioned earlier in the show, really been impressive this entire playoffs. Hawks finally got their superstar. It's a shame that they have no one else to help them behind them. But like I say, we still got one more game to play. All hope is not lost. The Hawks really don't have anything to lose because I doubt anybody believe they're going to go to Philly and win Game 7 tomorrow. So once again, which is kind of sad because you go from the start of the series playing with house money, nobody believed you had a chance to win. Then you get within 5-6 games, now everybody believe you're going to win last night. Now we're back once again to nobody think you're going to win tomorrow. So you're playing with house money. Like I posted on my page, they can go up there, have some fun, but nobody believes you're going to win and Philly in Game 7. I, being a Hawks fan, really hope you do win so I can have something positive to look back for tomorrow. And boy, why do they start us off at 8? Why we got to wait to 8 o'clock tomorrow to play? All the other games on Sunday been early. Now we got to sit here and just go mentally crazy waiting for 8 o'clock to come tomorrow. But Rev, I think all hope may be lost. They blew a major opportunity. And Only thing we can do now is hope and pray that Philly have another choke job out of their mind, but it might be over. Good season, though, Hawks.
So you've been using hope and might. Give us a prediction. Do they win?
2 words I hate to use. A prediction. Well, I ain't gonna turn my back on my boys. You still got a game to play. I say Hawks figure. I don't know how we're gonna figure it out, but some way they figure it out. Maybe Philly go cold tomorrow. So maybe Philly miss a bunch of free throws tomorrow. But Philly have been choking themselves. So you see, both teams really have been letting major opportunities slip away. So I'm not just gonna go right out and say it's a guaranteed Philly win tomorrow. It should be, but the way they playing, I'm not gonna say that. I'll say the Hawks. Somehow, some way, figure out a way to get this done and make me proud of them. But right now, I'm extremely disappointed in them. But all my feelings can change with a win tomorrow, Game 7.
So I got to sift through all of that real quickly. So are you predicting a Hawks win? Yes or no?
Hawks win. Hawks win Game 7.
All right, Coach, give us what your thoughts are about last night's game, and then give us a prediction for what you think is going to happen on tomorrow.
I'm just looking at the stats right here. John Collins, 2 for 8, 0 or 3 from the 3-point line. Trae Young, even though he had 34, he only made 13 out of 30 shots. Bogdanovich, 3 out of 11. Double L, Lemon Pepper, 0 for 5, 0 for 1 from the 3-point line. Not gonna cut it. That's not gonna cut it going forward. And, going back to Philly, everybody's saying, well, Philly can choke too, but I think Philly has found an unknown, well, not unknown assassin, but an assassin in the making in Steph Curry, who has come up big in the last few games, and if they don't seem to find a way to stop him 6 or 9 from 3-point line, that's an extra 20 plus. That it's gonna be hard to come by. Can't leave him open. So if it come down to it, I don't think Philly is gonna surrender a lead this time at home. Unfortunately, it's gonna be a close game, and Philly unfortunately find a way to dash the Hawks' dreams and win.
Now, in some regard, I think as you were running down those stats, you were throwing shade at Trae Young.
No, not really. It just
hold on, coach. Because you were a former coach, just as I was. And a guard shooting 13 for 30 is not that bad, because if he hits 2 more shots, that's 50%.
Okay, I never was good at math.
I got to catch you on that, because I know, Westbrook is used to having some bad shooting nights. So I was wondering, like, 13 for 30 is not that bad.
Okay, check my math.
Yeah. Now the other ones, like Lemon Pepper going 0 for 5, that's terrible. When you look at John Collins shooting 2 for 8, that's not good at all. And I mean, quiet as kept. Clint Capella actually played well. He just looked so bad because he's so intimidated by Joel Embiid. But the Joker did go 14 points with 11 rebounds. His free throw shooting was horrible, along with all of the Atlanta Hawks free throw shooting, because the free throw shooting really did them in. And then also putting the Sixers on the free throw line for the rest of the game at the 7-minute mark in the fourth quarter definitely did them in as well. But I knew the turning point of the game is when what's his face? Okongwu will miss 2 free throws.
Party over.
Early in the fourth quarter, and then Bogey came right back and missed 2 free throws. And I said at that time, I just don't think this is going to be meant to be for the Hawks to win this one. And now Bogey is supposed to have some knee soreness. So I think that may make him questionable for tomorrow. And then we have to realize this. Bogey.
Hey, Joe Black. No, Joe Black. It's okay.
All right. Bogey is suffering in this series because of one thing. Now, I'm gonna ask either one of you all. Do you all know why Bogey is suffering in this series? And it's gonna take me to another series that we're gonna talk about in just a moment. Anybody got one guess?
The level, the play of the game, the way the game is being.
Not necessarily the play of the game, but he's struggling because he's having to do something he didn't have to do in the New York Knicks series. He's having to guard somebody that he's struggling with. Because DeAndre Hunter is hurt, Bogey has the responsibility of trying to contain mainly Tobias Harris. And that is affecting him. Tobias Harris is taking him on the block, knocking him out, bowing them, so forth and so on. And those international players collectively typically are not fans of physical basketball.
Why is he guarding Tobias Harris?
Because he can't guard Ben Simmons.
I would think he guards Seth Curry or somebody.
That's where, the matchups in this situation not good because you got to put Trey on either Kormaz or Seth. Because Kormaz is not going to bang Steph Curry too badly. And then John Collins, not going to really do too much with Tobias. So because of Tobias taking him down low, being physical with them, it's hurting him on the offensive end. It's just like Capella. Capella, shooting some shots I have never seen big men shoot before. I'm seeing him get real creative with some of the shots because he's so intimidated by the beef of Joel Embiid. I mean, shooting shots like this, and I've never seen some of the shots that this big man is taking. So the physical play has gotten the best of the Sixers. And with that being said, let me go Bible on them. Hawks, you fought the good fight.
Not to buy. Oh no!
But you have finished your race. They're not going into Philadelphia beating the Philadelphia 76ers. You already see that Doc Rivers has made the adjustment. Doc Rivers put in Tyrese Maxey. Maxey went nuts, taking out Ben Simmons when he needed to. And when the Sixers, or if the Sixers get a big lead, they're not coughing that up. I watched or listened to sports talk radio in Philadelphia. I mean, it gotten so bad in Philadelphia that they don't even refer to Ben Simmons by his name. They just call him 2-5. And they are not, and then they're giving Doc Rivers the blues. And Doc Rivers knows that heat is coming for him, and they're not going to squander a lead. And here's the sad thing. Here's the sad thing. And I know some of you all Hawks fans, you got your Jesse Jackson spirit going on, keep hope alive. And that's good. There's one more game to play. Not knocking you for that. But what makes this thing look very pessimistic for me when it comes to the Hawks, wanting the Hawks to win? And that is Joel Embiid did not even have a good game by his standards.
Yeah.
And we had a chance to really take that game. Let's look at Embiid's numbers real quickly. Let me get to the box score. Embiid, 9 for 24, 22 points and 13 rebounds. That wasn't a Joel Embiid game, and they still won. And you know what made me really concerned about the game? Reb's basically saying the Lord is not going to. Yeah, if you want it in that context, I guess that's what I am saying. But what made me really concerned, as well as the Hawks played in the first half, they were only up at halftime by 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's what really concerned me. I mean, the Sixers were there for the taking. They were ready to be knocked out. It was almost like, we're ready to go. We're ready to take on the heat that we're going to get from Philadelphia. Knock us out.
Shoot me, baby. Shoot me.
Exactly. But we did not take them out.
And Rev, Embiid turnovers 8.
Yeah.
Real? I still don't think real. That's a good take. Now I just hope I hope you don't have to come with another real take tomorrow if the Sixers screw this up. Now think
Well,
about it now.
I want them to screw it up. Don't get
Yeah,
me wrong. Now
because
I want them.
I had something. If the Hawks had won yesterday, I was gonna go through all of Doc's choke jobs throughout the years. We still might be able to do it, but just know Doc has blown a lot of game sevens. The Sixers have blown a lot of series that we all, like I say, we all think the Sixers should have been in the finals 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, they choked it up to Toronto a couple of years back. They choked it up to Boston. I remember we was at the Braves game watching them choke it up to Boston a few years back. They don't choked it up to Miami last year or whoever they played in the bubble. So you're right. I mean, you're right. All the momentum is with Philly. They really should win. The Hawks blew it. They pretty much done. But how much do we have faith in Philly closing it out too? Like I say, that team is full of chokers too. But you're right. The Hawks are done. I'm just going with the Hawks because they my team. That's why I'm cheering for them to win tomorrow. But the Phillies, Sixers really should end this tomorrow. If the Hawks are in the Eastern Conference Finals, woo! I can't wait to hear what the Philly radio stations got to say about Doc, Self, and Bean and Embiid on Monday morning. I'll say that. Rev, you might send me those highlights of the Philly radio station Monday morning if the Hawks are in the Eastern Finals.
97.5 The Fanatic in Philadelphia. Stream it. They are some brutal fans. And this is why I believe Doc does not make the same mistake. He's been getting the heat. He doesn't get that kind of heat like he got like he's getting in Philadelphia in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, they got so many people doing other things. You know, he might have got some heat like that in Boston, but I don't really remember him having a whole litany of times where he gave up big leads. But in Los Angeles, folk were doing all types of things. You know,
and he the Clippers, not the Lakers.
And he the Clippers, not the Lakers coach. In Philadelphia, the Sixers and the Phillies have equal billing. And right now, the Sixers are the best team in the city. So all attention is on Philadelphia. They brought Doc in to Philadelphia to get Philadelphia to the next level. I saw evidence that the media has gotten to Doc. As soon as Ben Simmons got into a little foul trouble, he did not hesitate to take Ben out and put in Tyrese Maxey, which is what the Philadelphia fans were saying en masse all day Thursday. Mm-hmm. They have been questioning why Doc had not been playing Tyrese Maxey, and you see Tyrese Maxey played quite a few minutes on yesterday's game. Matter of fact, Tyrese Maxey played, as I get ready to pull it up, Tyrese Maxey played 29 minutes after only averaging 5.5 minutes per game. And so that lets me know the people in Philadelphia have spoken and Doc Rivers has heard. And that's why I say, we go to football, the Atlanta Falcons and Atlanta sports teams are not pushed to the level that other sports cities are pushed because our fan base does not put the right kind of pressure. Just like if Ben Simmons were playing in Atlanta, well, at least he gets about 10, 12 triples, doubles. That's what we'll be talking about. Not the fact that he's paid $30+ million and he's a liability on the free throw line. He's a liability on offense like they're playing 4-on-5. That's what we would be talking about as Hawks fans. But Philadelphia fans and other sports markets like New York and so forth and so on, they're not caring about that stuff. They're looking at the game, what they are seeing in real time. And that's where we fall short. Just like there's not enough uproar in Atlanta about John Collins. The fan base should be speaking. There is absolutely no way John Collins deserves a max contract. Just because he catches an impressive alley-oop maybe once or twice a game and catches a ball off the rim once or twice a game does not make him a max contract player. And if everybody were in Atlanta saying the same stuff, the Hawks would not dare to even think about getting John Collins a max contract. But what do we do in Atlanta? Well, who else we gonna get? We can find a lot of other people who in a major game will go 2 for 8, 7 points, and 10 rebounds. That's not hard to find.
I told you, folks are just happy. It's a lot of fans just happy they have a team. But I ain't happy I got a team. I'm only happy about winning rings. So I keep trying to tell folks, when my team don't win rings, I'm completely unhappy. I just say that. It's about winning rings. Sorry, fans, about winning rings. Rev is right. Can't be just happy if your city has a team. Yeah, it's about winning games, getting to the top of the mountain. And as long as you ain't there, sorry, nobody cares. We sick of Atlanta fans crying about respect. Respect. How come they don't talk about us? They ain't gonna talk about us because we don't win. When we win, they'll talk about us. When you lose, you're gonna be forgotten about. No respect, no rings, no respect.
Ben Simmons is the new Eastern Conference Draymond Green. Just call it what it is. He's the new Eastern
Draymond
Conference.
got 3 rings.
Draymond. Yeah, Ben might. Hey, he played. They playing similar. No points, but they'll get you everything else. But they can't score.
All right, gentlemen.
right.
I'm gonna add something real quickly. And this wasn't initially in our talk, but I want to pose this question before we go into the next series. Fill in the blank. Oh, I'm sorry. I misplaced my statement. Hold on right quick. I'm sorry. Here it is. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here it is. Need you to fill. We're going to play a little game of fill in the blank. Coach, I'm asking you to go first. If the Atlanta Hawks lose Game 7, this season was for the Atlanta Hawks
a moderate success.
In 30 seconds, tell us.
Considering no one saw them coming and going this far and doing what they did, I know everybody is high on the fact that they could win this series. But how many people at the beginning of the year can honestly say they saw the Hawks all getting close to the Eastern Conference Finals? Nobody. And they'll be lying if they did.
All right. Yeah, you did, Joe Black. You told us that. Exactly. That's a great point, Vincent. Before you go, Red, Ms. Harris chimed in more than expected season to the question. All right. So what's your statement, Red, on this? If the Atlanta Hawks lose Game 7, this season was
inspiring for the future of the team. Now, yeah, we all know diehard sports junkies like me gonna be crying and disappointed when we lose tomorrow, but that's natural. But overall, when you look back at the overall season, it is very inspiring. We finally realized that we have a superstar to build around in Trae Young. We finally realized what it takes for him to be successful. We know you have to surround him with a big man in the middle and shooters on the outside, and that's the formula to getting the best out of Trae Young. Now, like I say, a lot of the Hawks just been missing a lot of shots, been missing a lot of open shots. Trae Young has been doing his thing, like you said, Rep, averaging 20 points, double-digit assists. You got to have some help. You're a little man. He can't do it by himself. He can do a lot, but he still needs some help. But I'm glad that he was exposed as the superstar he really was. I'm glad he got some playoff experience. I mean, we deep in the second round in his first postseason. That's going to say a lot for him going forward. I'm happy that we finally realized what an asset we had in Nate McMillan and what an asset we didn't have in Lloyd Pierce. I'm glad Travis was smart enough to make that move. I'm glad Travis was smart enough to make additional moves at the trade deadline when we need them as far as Lou Williams for Rondo. So overall, I'm going to say this was an inspiring season. Inspiring because I believe in our GM, I believe in our head coach, and I believe in our superstar. So good job. I don't believe, like I said, we still got some pieces to move as far as who all is going to be the complete team when we have our championship run. But overall, this was an inspiring season, and I'm definitely looking forward to Hawks basketball in the future.
All right. Before I put in my fill in the blank, I'm going to go with some of the Reverend Knights. Joe Black said this was a season of progress. Give Nate a full off season. Alexis Hill a success with disappointment. Vincent Woodruff a big time success. Knicks now for the next step, next season, Eastern Conference Finals 2022. And we see Miss Ellie Von Williams has brought the spirit of Eminem prayer to the Red and Rev Sports Show on today. All right. I'm going to fill in the blank by saying this. If the Atlanta Hawks lose Game 7, this season was filled with positive discoveries. Positive discoveries. One positive discovery is that Nate McMillan is what Trae Young needed. I'm going to say it was more of what Trae Young needed than what the entire roster needed, because Trae Young is the straw that stirs the Atlanta Hawks drink. And obviously, Trae Young did not have a good relationship with Lloyd Pierce. I think he struggled with the shifting of the relationship because Lloyd Pierce was in the power position when Trae Young first came to Atlanta Hawks because he was a rookie. And Lloyd Pierce was the one, even though he had not been a head coach that long, he was the one with the NBA experience, and Trae Young needed to learn from him. And therefore, as Trae got somewhat better and became somewhat of a name in the NBA, the power dynamics in that relationship shifted, where Trae Young was more valuable to the Hawks than Lloyd Pierce was. And I think Trae Young understood he now in the power position, and he wanted to flex his muscles since Lloyd Pierce had not shifted in their conversation, especially towards Trae. And also, I think Trae, in some form, some fashion, did not respect Lloyd because he didn't play in the NBA, whereas Nate McMillan did. So I think the positive discovery was, in order for Trae Young to be the best Trae Young he could be, Nate McMillan needed to be the coach, who was a solid NBA point guard for many years in the NBA. And Trae Young has become better defensively. And that's where Nate McMillan wore his hat in the league. He was a great defensive player in the league. Another positive discovery is not only the development of Trae Young, but I believe that Cam Reddish is going to have a breakout year next year because Nate McMillan is going to have an offseason with him. And I see even Bogey took a leap toward playing much better once Nate McMillan became the head coach. He had a solid position in the starting lineup. He had a lot more success. He had a great series against the Knicks, had a game or two. Game one, he was pretty solid for the Hawks. But, you know, this series, he's kind of tapered off a little bit. But I think an offseason with Nate McMillan, Cam Reddish is going to take a next step. If DeAndre Hunter can get healthy, I think DeAndre Hunter will take the next step. And then you got two valuable pieces that can help the Atlanta Hawks be in much better position, because let's just be real, going forward, you can't have the likes of Solomon Hill and Tony Snell playing major minutes in a major playoff game. You just can't do that. It doesn't work.
What about the big O, Real?
Okongwu, yeah, he's going to be solid. Now I'm going to just say this, and we got to move on. If Clint Capella, after getting basketball abused this whole series, is not inspired to work on his basketball game, especially on the offensive side, nothing will. The way he has been abused by Joel Embiid from the outside and in the post, and he needs to even get stronger, because you can be bigger than someone, but you can still be a force where you can be hard to move by getting stronger. And Clint Capella, I don't think he's done his best job strengthening his body. There's some more muscles and strength that can come out of his body. So if he can't be inspired by getting abused by Joel Embiid, nothing will. And Hawks at some point need to move on from him, because this is unacceptable. You get abused and nothing inspires you to work on a good, solid jump hook, put a couple of post moves. Look, Nate McMillan should put a video together, all them crazy shots he took that looked like he was in elementary school. I mean, just terrible shots. If he's not inspired, nothing will ever inspire him. All right. So that's
But
good.
if you want a contract extension, you better do exactly what you said, because next year it's gonna be a contract year for Clint.
All right.
What?
It'll be okay. All right, Red, you wanted to talk about this a little bit, so we'll jump on one quick minute. We don't need to talk about it for a long time. Sister Sylvia had Design really want out of Nola what a duo he and Trey would be.
I forgot about that topic. Yeah, that's what I was hearing. That there was some rumbling going on, but he's not happy. Then I heard it was mostly coming from his family. But I still think, where there's smoke, could be some fire from Zion. Like I say, I'm pretty sure he was disappointed he didn't make the playoffs this year. They fired Stan Van Gundy. So, I mean, you can't really say Zion is unhappy yet, because they might get a coach who does the Nate McMillan thing for Zion, like Nate McMillan did for Trey. So I guess it all depends on who David Griffin hires as the next Pelicans coach. That'll determine Zion's future in New Orleans. But he's probably not happy now, because he's looking at the NBA playoffs wishing he was a part of it.
Coach, would Zion be a good fit for Atlanta?
Zion would be a good fit for Orlando. Of course he would. He comes in, that's a physical presence. He's an athlete. He hustles. He does everything he wants to, and he has room to grow big. To use your words, your Joe Clark word, expeditionally. He had room to grow. So hey, Zion going to anybody immediately gives them an upgrade. I don't think he's gonna leave. He want to leave New Orleans, like I said, at that family rumbling, because you got a coach looking at the fact with him, Ingram, Jason Kidd, Bledsoe, that kind of young group right there. They get a good coach. The Pelicans are going to make some noise with that little young duo there. So I don't know if he wants out of New Orleans. I think his fans were disappointed because Van Gundy's philosophy, or whatever Van Gundy didn't do, didn't help Zion at all. That's what that is.
Well, I think, what's the GM's name?
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
He's to blame for that hire. He should have never hired Stan Van Gundy in the first place. I don't know what in the world made him think that Stan Van Gundy would be a good fit for a lot of younger players. Stan Van Gundy would probably do better in this time in his career with veteran players, not rookies. We saw the disaster that was the Detroit Pistons when he was the head coach and the GM. So I don't know what inspired David Griffith to think that was a good move. Also, if he was going to put in Stan Van Gundy, he was better off leaving Alvin Gentry. But because Alvin Gentry was not his guy, he inherited Alvin Gentry. He wanted to go into another direction. But that's going to hurt David Griffith, because he has already given himself a short leash with the Pelicans because of hiring and firing his choice in 1 year. What a dumb move.
And Gail Benson, she is a very impatient woman. Like you say, you already on fire one coach. You make another bad coaching move, David, you're going to be the next one fired.
Yep. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Gentlemen, I'm going to call a quick audible because, we want to try to fit as much that we can in the time period right before we go to halftime. So if you don't mind, since we're talking NBA, we'll talk about the Nets and the Bucks and the Western Conference a little later. But let's go ahead and put this topic in. Let's deal with the NBA, all NBA teams. Let's just jump that in there right there, because that's not going to take as long as the other topics. The NBA.
Yeah, you want to do? We can do the coaching carousel too.
Well, I don't know. We could fit the carousel later on, but the all NBA teams will be out the way once we get through at halftime. So we'll just do it that way. All right, let's get your thoughts. First team: Curry, Doncic, Greek Freak, Kawhi, and Jokic. How y'all feel about that? Anybody left off the first team that you feel should have been on the first team?
Oh, man.
Looks good to me.
It's okay. I don't know, Kawhi.
So if you have a somewhat of an issue with Kawhi, who would you have put there instead of Kawhi?
That's what I'm trying to think. I mean, who would I put there?
All right, let me.
Maybe Embiid or somebody. I mean, this is the first team. It's like they just threw. I mean, with the way this season been going, it's like players been in and out the lineups all year long. They could have just threw any 5 of it as long as you threw 5 good ones up there. I mean, because all these besides Jokic, everyone in here, well, Greek Freak, most of these players been in and out the lineup. Doncic, God, is he the best 2 guard? I mean, I don't see Durant. I don't see Harden in the first team. Man.
Well, you got to remember Durant missed quite a few games this year. Harden missed quite a few games as well. So I think
Embiid. You're right. So it's just like, I guess this is what happens when you have a lot of injuries in the NBA. But it's not a bad list. All 5 of these guys are superstar players for their team. You got Steph, Luka, Greek Freak, Kawhi. Not your stars dwindling down after this latest injury. We'll get to that later.
All right, let's see this. Anybody on the second team needed to be on the first team?
Yeah, that's a better question. Let's see. Rev, I probably would consider putting CP3 on the first team over Steph, because CP3 had a way better season. I mean, CP3 did way more for his team and had a much better season than me. I guess we want to look at individuals. In the individual season, yes, Steph probably had the better individual season. But I guess I'm looking at it from a team aspect. That's probably why I would put CP3 over Steph. But Steph was an MVP candidate. So, I mean, you got arguments off and on for every player. It looked like, I mean, it's probably some people that say Dame Lillard could have been on the first team. It's some people that probably think Randall could have been on the first team and took Kawhi's place. I mean, Randall had a great season. LeBron, you were injured too. And Embiid, like I say, he could have been on the first team, but he was injured. So, like I say, this all NBA team is full of a lot of injury-prone selections this season.
Coach, jump in there. You had a little moment when Red suggested that CP3 could have been on the first team over Curry.
Chris Paul, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. Okay. Now, everybody is glossing on the fact that Chris Paul did do for Phoenix, even though Phoenix had Book and other players. But now Steph Curry had to deal with no Clay, no Wiseman, and had to drag Draymond and them to actually getting into possibly making the playoffs. So you can give Steph Curry some love for doing that, but getting them almost in the playoffs, what he did with that crippled team he had. So,
I think if the award was most inspirational player, CP3 gets that because he inspired his team. If you want to talk about leader of the year, Chris Paul is the leader of the year. But when we start talking about statistics, and then also we have to look at who has to do more for their team in order for their team to be functional. CP3 did for the team what they needed him to do in terms of making them a better competitor. The Suns would have had expectations to make the playoffs this year, even if CP3 had not gone to the Suns. Now, would they have been expected to go to Western Conference Finals? I don't think so. But they expected them to be better, especially because of what they did in the bubble, being the only undefeated team in the bubble. All right. Now, when it comes to Steph, as Coach alluded to, Steph had way more on his plate. I mean, he had every 30-point night that he had was needed in order for them to be relevant. CP3 could just get by doing 10 and 5, and Devin Booker going for 30 or 40 could happen, or DeAndre Ayton going 20 and 10 could happen. So we know that CP3's supporting cast was much better than than Steph Curry. So that's why I definitely see why Curry made first team and was an MVP candidate to the very end. Third team, Bill, Irving, Butler, George, and Gobert. What do you think about that? Is there anybody that's missing from the top 15? Anybody missing from the top 15? Is there a player that should have been included in the top 15?
Oh, I would love for Trey to have made it, but I can't think of who I'd take off of it. Well, maybe Irving. But I don't like Kawhi. I mean, not Kyrie, so I'll always replace him with Trey. Bill definitely deserves his spot. Jimmy Butler.
I think Butler may have gotten in more so based upon what they did last year than this year, off reputation.
Yeah, Butler's spot could have went to somebody else. I can't think of who right now, but Gobert. After this playoffs, he don't need to be nowhere near a team, but I can understand why he made it.
Coach, any thoughts?
I got two. Butler, like you said, made it off rep from a year before. Now Bradley Beal had 31 points, but he only played 60 games. That might I don't know. You only play 60 games.
Well, Coach, man, they only played 72 now.
Yeah, and LeBron
that's not Yeah, that's not too bad.
So, Rev, how many times are you not gonna get the point that I don't like math? I'm terrible at math. I keep telling you.
We're gonna have to question the Green. Where are you from? Green. What is it called? Mississippi.
Greenville.
Yeah, we're gonna have to question the Greenville public school system because your math is a little off. But yeah, they only play 72, so missing 12 games is not that bad, Coach.
Yeah, math would kept me caused me an award in high school, so I'm not gonna talk about math any longer.
All right. So we have math and grammar as the big issues on the show. All right. All right. The question is, where is Shelby? Under Red's recommendation, she is no longer associated with the Red and Red. No, I'm just playing. She's off this week. She'll be back with us next week. All right. She's back to her every other week schedule. She just jumped in 2 or 3 consecutive weeks because the middle week that she joined in, I wasn't going to be on the show, nor was Coach on the show. So that's why she was a team player and jumped in. So where's the Shelby? She'll be back next week. Now, if she's not with us next week, then you might want to start having, as Coach would say, some concerns. All right. With that being said,
it took a whole hour for somebody to know that she wasn't here.
With that said, it's officially halftime of the Red and Rev Sports Show. Oh man, Red had to take a cheap shot at Shelby, but nevertheless, thank y'all so much for watching the first half. We talked Hawks versus Sixers. We talked all NBA. Of course, we talked dope note coat. Second half, we got 12-team playoff, the coaching carousel in the NBA, and then we'll break down Bucks Nets Game 7 tonight, and also give a preview of the Suns and Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. Hang out with us for one more half of the Red and Rev Sports Show, and we will be right back.
It took a whole hour for somebody to know she wasn't
And the Revenite Nation got some comments about certain things that are taking place. Vincent Woodruff is coming at me, Rev. You give Coach the duties of dealing with numbers every week. And Sister Harris is co-signing on that. Vincent said Rev won his petition to ban Shelby for 1 week. Sister Harris has some concerns, but Shelby hasn't even tuned in. That's my issue. We don't know what happened to her, mother dear. Just calm down. We don't know. She may have had something to come up. She is not contractually obligated to tune in when she's not on the show, even though we would love for her to do so. And she had planned to do so right before the show, but we don't know what happened. We pray all is well. And remember, some people may be making some alternative plans in lieu of the weather issues that are coming down our way. So we never know. We never know. Vincent Woodruff said Revenant Nation will have the ACLU to file on. Oh, man, that's funny. And Vincent says, true that. I want to know that my friend is all right. I'll continue to tag her in comments, hoping that she responds. All right. All right. So obviously, Shelby is missed by some people, even though she may not be missed by you.
That's so sweet, Vincent, your friend Shelby. Oh, Vincent has a friend. Everyone.
I sent some sarcasm from Red. All right, gentlemen, let's change it up, man. We've been talking heavy basketball for the past few weeks because, rightfully so, it is NBA playoff time. But let's switch gears. This was supposed to be one of our discussions last week. The NCAA football 12-team playoff proposal, where they are proposing where I believe 4 teams get buys, the top 4 teams, and then the other 8 teams would have to play each other. That would give more opportunities for your mid-major programs to get in the 12-team pool, and also some at-large bids to some conference Power 5 teams that did not necessarily win their conference. Coach, you are probably more in tune with college football than any of us on this panel, so I'm going to start with you first. What do you think about the 12-team playoff proposal? Is it good for college football?
Yeah, I think it's good. You know, you look at, those 4 teams is in, out, boom. The 12 team gives more chance for upsets and a little more work for those so-called big timers to get in. And then you got like I said, a team can come in and upset somebody. Now that's what I want to see, that upset and that chaos where the big timers don't just cruise right on in. But I shared with you a comment that Kirby Smart made about how he's great. He hope it works out. And then Nick Saban said, yeah, that's probably the only way you get into the championship or get in there. So, hey, it's some shots going to be fired. And I think it'll work out competition-wise for the NCAA, me personally.
All right, Red, your thoughts on the 12-team playoff proposal for the NCAA football?
It's fine to me. I'm always happy when you get more teams that have a chance at winning the championship. Now I'm kind of surprised they took it all the way up to 12 teams. I thought as high as they would go would probably, when it's time for a new contract, I thought maybe they would just go up to maybe 8 teams. I heard everybody saying an 8-team playoff would be something everybody would possibly be satisfied with. But 12 teams, man, these teams not gonna have any excuses now. No excuse. Look, if you can't get in the top 12, sorry for you. You don't deserve to make playoffs. I mean, really, it should be top 8, but top 12, none of these programs are going to have any excuses. Okay. So I, for one, is kind of excited waiting to see it, because I always thought, well, first of all, I thought no playoffs was just completely unacceptable. Then 4 teams, it's a little exciting. You still basically, the regular season basically is all the way important. But 12 teams, it might dilute the regular season just a bit, because you might be able to lose 1 or 2 games and still make the playoffs. But we'll see eventually how it all works out. But I'm just happy that UGA will finally have at least more than a puncher's chance to win a championship.
All right, and Vincent Woodruff says 12-team playoff could definitely shake up things. Checking the Power 5 and the NCAA will find a way to capitalize monetarily. And part of my points that I want to make deals with the monetary aspect of it. We have to realize that money is what drives NCAA football. And the reality is, with the current 4-team structure, in some cases, they were losing money because the interest in the bowl games were lessened when teams did not make the top 4. What we had started seeing was an influx of top players knowing that they were going to be drafted. What are they doing if they're not in the top 4? They're sitting out all games. So therefore, by adding 12 teams, it gives more players more incentive to want to play in the bowl games. Plus, it makes the bowl games even more valuable now because you can spread out different bowls, be associated to different playoff games like they did with the Final Four and as well as the championship. They were all linked to a bowl. So now you have 4 games in the first round that will all be linked to bowls. Then you have another 2 games that will link to bowls. Then you have another game, the championship game, that would link to a bowl, which means money, 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 because all of those games are meaningful. So therefore, that's why the 12-team proposal makes the most sense because of the monetary aspect. And then it allows us, the fans, to see teams at their peak because they are playing for something. Once you just had the 4 teams and every team outside of 4 teams, if you're a high draft pick, why risk it? There's nothing to play for. And therefore, they had to combat that element that was going to happen more and more and more because players are not going to position themselves to be able to be hurt and possibly miss out on a major payday. All right. Alexis Hill says that's entirely too many teams. It's going to water down the regular. Now, college football, the regular season, the most relevant for a reason. I'm not going to say it watered down because how many teams have gone into the Final Four undefeated? Most teams would lose every year. There's at least one game that's lost for most teams.
Yeah, what's watered down is the college basketball regular season, not the college football.
Well, I know he's saying that, the one game and you're out element is great for football, but you still have it because you're going to still have the argument for the 13, 14, and 15 team. Should they have gotten in? Whose one loss is worse than the other? So you still are going to have those elements there. We were even talking about in some years, is a 2-loss team better than the 1-loss team that made it? Just like Georgia, year before last. There were questions like, were Georgia's 2 losses better than one team that got in? So I don't necessarily agree with the water down. It's just you're going to probably have more teams with 1 or 2 losses that qualify for the championship. And then it also gives room for people to have a bad week. I mean, having a bad week is going to happen at some point. How many times, going back to Jake Fromm's junior year, will Georgia lose to South Carolina in that type of game at a noonday game? How many times is that going to happen? It's not going to happen that much. So there is room for error. And then also the reality is every Pac-12 team and the Big 12, they should be happy because it's almost guaranteed that they're now going to have a representative in the playoff. Because one of those 2 conferences, historically, since this has been happening, they've been left out. There's always been a representative from the SEC, mainly Alabama, ACC, mainly Clemson, and the Big Ten, mainly Ohio State. And then that left room for either the Pac-12 conference or the Big 12 to get somebody in. But now both of those conferences will be able to have a representative and coaches. USC, they got a better chance, just like Georgia has a better chance of getting in as well. I knew I would get some response from Coach.
Fight
All
on.
right. Go ahead, Coach.
Fight on, Trojans. Fight on.
Yeah, y'all should actually make it now with 12 teams.
Oh, man. All right, we're going to pause real quickly. Red, give us a no more than 3-minute Braves report right here. What you got for us when it comes to the Braves?
Braves report? I didn't even think we'd talk about them losers today. Okay. I got something. Thankfully, Brian Snicker been running his mouth this week. And boy, what has he said? How, Snicker, could you form your lips to call one of your best players? I guess you didn't really call him stupid, but still, you made a big spectacle of his play in the game previously. So it's like you called him stupid, even though you really didn't. And all I got to say is, Rev, coach, I don't see Brian Snicker being the manager of this team too much longer in the future. If the Braves miss the playoffs this year, he might not return next year. If we make it this year and go out early, he still might not return. I think I'm about done with Snick. I think it's time for a managerial change in my Braves. Now, what did we do this week? We choked 2 games to the Red Sox, scored 16 runs in 2 games to the Red Sox, and lost both of them. Why? Because more bullpen issues regarding Snick and the way he uses bullpen. You want to call Ronald Acuna stupid? Why don't you call yourself stupid for mismanaging the bullpen all season long and really your entire tenure since you've been manager of the Atlanta Braves, Snick? You were completely out of line for that. And then Swanson does the same thing in another game, and you completely say that he was being a team player. So Swanson is a team player for being aggressive, but Ron Acuna is stupid for being aggressive. Come on, Snick. You can't have it both ways. Anyway, the Braves won the last 2 games against the Cardinals. Charlie Morton probably pitched his best game of the season for the Braves, and Max Fried came last night and pitched another gem. So last 2 games been pretty good. First 2 games of the week were pretty awful. Once again, inconsistencies with the Braves all season long, a seesaw, up and down, roller coaster all year long. So, like I say, I think I know where this team is right now. And unless they do some major trading at the trade deadline, this team is a wild card team at best. I don't see them winning the division unless some major moves are made. Wild card team or missing the playoffs at best.
Right now, the Braves sit 32-35 in 3rd place in the NL East, 5.5 games behind the New York Mets. Coach, I'm going to you because you gave us Memorial Day to start being concerned. We are now approaching the month of July. Matter of fact, next week, this time, it will be July. Are you officially concerned about the Atlanta Braves?
First of all, next week it's 2 weeks until we get to July 1st.
You're right. I'm sorry. You're correct. It's 26. I meant to say.
Rev, you ready for the 4th of July?
I don't think anybody expected the Mets to be this good. I really didn't. I knew the Grom was going to be the man, but they have established themselves as the leader. Everybody else is floating around, hovering around the 500 or less mark. So the Braves still got a chance. They just like, I'll put it this way. They just like American Pharoah in a Kentucky Derby. You just hang around in a little bit, just stay in contention, and then all of a sudden you make that move. I think they still got a chance to make playoffs. That's how I view this. They can still, like you said, it's a wild card. So they're gonna make
they wouldn't be in wild card contention right now. The only way they could make it is if they win the NL East, because even with the Mets being atop of the NL East, that would still put the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Cubs, Milwaukee Brewers all in front of them. So you're talking about that's already 5 teams in front of the first place NL East player. So right now it's either NL East or nothing now. Nothing at all.
Wow, coach. Seems like the Braves gonna have to tackle Medina Spirit's Kentucky Derby route and start using some steroids or something to get back in this race.
Well, they're gonna have to win. They're gonna have to win their division because right now the Braves are 8 games behind the San Diego Padres, and the Padres are in 3rd place in the NL West.
Yeah, you're right. The wild cards are coming from the Central or the West. Those teams are just too good. You can't I won't believe that the NL West ain't gonna have 2 teams in the playoffs, and I won't believe that NL Central won't have. Matter of fact, NL West might have 3 teams in the playoffs. So you're right, Braves. It's a division of bust, and it's looked like we headed to a busted balloon.
Real quickly, Red, as we close out this segment, Brother Timothy Sago Sr. took some issue. He says Snit is not the problem. It's the bullpen. And then also it's the ownership not spending money.
Well, who manages the bullpen? Snit. Now, I agree with you with the money problems. You're definitely right about that. But if you're going to say it's the bullpen, Timmy, then it's definitely got to be Snit, because he controls who comes in and out of the bullpen every game, and he seems to fall in love with the same sorry scrub old players who come out and blow leads game after game after game again. So you're right about the money issue. Liberty Media, tight wallets. Now, this is what I don't like. How all of a sudden we can't spend what we want at the beginning of the season, because they always put a hold over how much we can spend. But Alex Anthopoulos always come at mid-season and say, well, it's no limit on what I can do money-wise as far as making the team better at the trading deadline. Really? It is no limit at the trading deadline, but it's a limit at the beginning of the season when you got Trevor Bauer and all these other players available to make our team better. Oh, but trading deadline, it's open wallet. Is there a Trevor Bauer available at the trading deadline, you big dummy?
Not most people. Well, that's saying we don't have to pay them for most of the year. We'll just take the contracts toward the end of the year.
Cheap.
Exactly.
Cheap. Yeah. You're not going to win anything being cheap.
Yeah, go ahead, Coach.
The Braves had to make one phone call.
What's that call?
Ted Turner. That's all. Ted spent money. Ted didn't care how much. He spent his money. Like, hey, whatever. We're going to get a team in here. He spent money. Call Ted Turner and say,
you know what, Coach? You on the right path, but I think it's another T they need to call, because Ted Turner, I think his money is a little old right now. This is the person that I think the Braves need to call. And you guys going to be shocked I'm about to say this. Tyler Perry. Oh, the Braves need to call Tyler Perry. Tyler, man, I know you love your movies and TV shows, but dude, we need your help, man. You got the money, you can afford it. I need you to make an investment in my Braves, Tyler. Come on, you're a good businessman. You know the Braves will get you some money, and I would love for you to spend money on the team. Get us out the doldrums. Come on, Tyler. You already bought a studio. That's doing well. Come on and spend some of that money and invest in one of our sports teams. Falcons and Hawks are already on. But Tyler, if you buy the Braves, oh, Lord. Woo, come on, Tyler. That's who we need, Coach. We need Tyler Perry.
Breaking news.
I know. I'm shocked in the world. I know Vincent about rolling over there on Rev Night Nation, but yeah, we need that type of money.
Vincent took exception.
Let me leave that up there for a minute, man. That's fun.
Red sending out the breaking news alert, emergency alert.
If TP gets involved with the Braves, he'll have the benefit. Wear it back at 380.
I'm pretty sure he'll be leaning on the dress code.
Ted Turner had the George Steinbrenner mentality. You got to put the money on the table to bring talent on the team, no doubt about it.
What is the team then?
Tyler Perry's worth $1 billion, brother. He's worth $1 billion. And I can't believe Red fixed his mouth to say TV. As much as we bash him.
I didn't say I wanted him to invest in award-winning movies. I said the Braves. he can still lead the front office. We just need his money, because I think Tyler spent some money to make his team good. As much money as he spent on those whack TV shows and movies at that studio, I know if he bought the Braves, he spent some money to make himself look good. Tyler, for one thing, is a great businessman.
Now that he is. We're definitely gonna have to chop this video up. We got to make this go viral. Tyler Perry to become the owner.
What's the point of celebrating black billionaires if they're not gonna spend it to help the city out? We need you, Tyler. We need a black owner.
Oh man, the crowd would be yelling, be chatting, "Hello." That was pretty good. That was pretty good, man. We're definitely gonna have to chop this one up and get this to go viral. All right, gentlemen, let's move on. I never saw the Braves report would deliver Tyler Perry. I never saw that one coming. I tell you, never know what to expect on the red
I
and
know
red.
Ted Turner's out right now. I don't even know why he sold the team, but Coach gave me that idea.
All right, gentlemen. Well, let's get back to talking some basketball as we get ready to take the last half of the show to talk about basketball. We know there is a crucial Game 7 that is taking place on tonight. The Bucks and the Nets are in a 3-3 tie as we talk NBA playoffs once again. Let me get that up real quickly. There we go. And we got the 3-3 tie going on with the Bucks versus the Nets. We saw that Kyrie Irving has gone down since the last time we met. I think last time this week, nobody had really given the Bucks a shot to win. Many of us thought that the series would be over. Then lo and behold, Kyrie Irving goes down. The Bucks win games 3 and 4. The Nets come back and win a shocker. Everybody just knew the Bucks were going to win because Kyrie Irving went down in game 4. But then the Bucks cough up a double-digit lead, and then Kevin Durant puts up almost a 50-piece on the Bucks to win game 5. And then the Greek Freak and the Bucks finally learn what they should have been doing for the entire series, not take so many threes, but get the ball down low, and they wind up beating the Bucks pretty handedly by the end of the game by double digits. So that leads us to Game 7 as Red is fixing his camera. It's perfect now. All right. It's Game 7, 3-3 tie. Game is tonight. Who wins Game 7 of this series and why? Coach, we'll start with you and your basketball analysis.
If the Bucks don't win tonight, there's 7 coaching over, there should be 8, because Budenholzer should be fired right on the spot, right after the game. You have the blue. Oh Lord! Oh my goodness! This business stop. Coach Bud, if you don't know to tell the Greek Freak before the game, Giannis, no 3-pointers, sir. 0. Don't even attempt it. Don't even look like you want to. If you don't have a blueprint from Game 6 to take it into Game 7, fire him after the game if they lose. Simple as that. Bucks gonna win.
All right, so you're already on record to say if the Bucks lose, even though you're predicting them to win, Coach Bud gets fired.
And bye. Thank you for coming. God bless you.
All right, man. All right, Red, do you agree with Coach's take?
I absolutely do. Don't even worry about getting on the plane, go home. Just find your own way back from Brooklyn. Matter of fact, just stay in Brooklyn and enjoy your vacation, Coach Bud. Go to one of the New York bars and have a drink, because we all know you're going to be done. Like Coach said, you're going to be done if you lose tonight. So I just go ahead and make a good vacation out of it. I deal with what I have to deal with on Monday morning, but I stay in New York Saturday, Sunday night, enjoy myself, because I know Monday morning I'm finna feel it. But I don't expect the Milwaukee to lose. Now I think they finally figured out what they need to be doing. Keep their best players in the paint. Giannis stay in the paint. No 3 you don't need to shoot 3-pointers to beat the Nets, okay? Let Grant do what he gonna do. Play defense, stop the other guys. Harden ain't 100%. Milwaukee should win this game. Milwaukee should have won Game 5 and 6, but Milwaukee should win. I'm kind of disappointed because they finna go to the finals, and I would expect my Hawks to meet up with them, but that's something we have to deal with tomorrow. But yeah, I'm expecting Milwaukee to go ahead and win tonight. Brooklyn not 100% healthy. Nobody wants to see them. Milwaukee, it's your time. Coach Bud, if you have any heart, any guts, you get this team ready and prepared tonight to make another trip to the East Finals and see my Hawks.
All right. I see you had your fingers crossed when you made that statement. I had a very profound thing to say, but I forgot about you. Forgot it as I was listening to you watch you cross your fingers. But nevertheless, the Bucks should play Game 7 like they did play Game 6, like both of you all alluded to. And what I was trying to make the analogy what's happened to Bogey in the Hawks Sixers series, where his offense is hurting because he's having to play tough defense. That's really what should have been happening in Kevin Durant. If you get Kevin Durant down low, he's been trying to play mainly Brook Lopez, who's the tallest thing out there. At times he'll play Greek Freak, and he's playing Chris Middleton sometimes. He should be getting worn out on defense because they're being physical with him. They're making him work, which would ultimately affect his offense. This is why if you ever watch basketball, a lot of coaches will not have their best player play defense against the opposition's best offensive player. That's why you haven't really seen Greek Freak, even though it could be argued that Chris Middleton's been the best offensive player for the Milwaukee Bucks in the series. But you have rarely seen Greek Freak play Kevin Durant because they don't want him to expend so much energy and potentially get in foul trouble playing Kevin Durant. If Kevin Durant had to play those big guys, and if those big guys actually played big and roughed up Kevin Durant would not have the legs nor the energy to shoot the ball as well as he's been shooting the ball. And because he doesn't have the frame that can withstand all of that on an ongoing basis, that's why the Bucks have to play physical basketball in order to do what they should do in lieu of the circumstances, with Harden being maybe 50% now. You know, he did show some improvement going from Game 4 to Game 5. He did hit a couple of step back threes, and who knows, he may be even better tonight after another 48 hours of therapy. But even with Harden not being 100% or just only being 80%, if he ever gets to that, the Bucks are the better team, and somebody needs to send an email to Drew Holiday. Stop shooting fadeaway three-point shots. Mm-hmm. Dude, you got one of the best handles in the league. You can take it to the rack at will and drop it off. These fadeaway threes, and then Pat Connaughton, as soon as he gets like an inch of space, he's just firing the ball up along with Forbes. All that got to stop, man. Like, make the game simple. And this is where I pray that these analytics people will ultimately get pushed out the door once they see how this analytical basketball shooting threes and keep shooting threes and keep shooting threes. They get teams beat at the end of the day. So hopefully we get back to some type of balance. Have some analytics, but have some common sense basketball integrated with it. All right.
Everybody want to be Steph Curry, man.
Steph Curry has to do what he does, but he does it great. He does it so well. He does it unlike anybody else. You know, the dude shoots the three ball like some people, like Kareem used to shoot the sky hook. I mean, most time when Steph Curry shoots the ball, you think it's money because he's worked on that shot. Most of these guys just firing up these threes and just hope it's going in. And it's ridiculous.
I ain't really worked on anything.
No. And that's why a lot of these teams aren't winning like they should. All right. Let's see. I believe the Nets will pull it out in a close one. Durant is the ultimate difference. Vincent Woodruff, the Bucks need to finish this. They'll never get another trip to the Eastern Conference Final. Gift wrap like this again with the flat earther and world traveler going down. The stars are aligning, and the Bucks are trying to blow it. Yep, the stars are definitely in line for the Bucks. Hopefully the Greek Freak realizes that he's over 7 feet. Indeed. All right, let's go to the Western Conference Finals. First, I want y'all to fill in this blank.
What's the blank?
Here it is.
Here we go.
All right, let me finish the statement. All right, here we go. Here it is. Y'all ready for it?
Ready.
Ready. All right, here it is. Since we got a little extra time, Paul George is now blank for leading the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals.
Oh, I got a word.
Paul George
I got a word
is
for that.
now blank for leading the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals. Well, Coach, since you said you already got something, we're going to start with you first. What's the fill in the blank? Paul George is now what for leading the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals?
Paul George is now fortunate for leading the Clippers to the Western Conference Final, because if he didn't, he would be blasted tremendously by everybody, more so than anything. But he is fortunate that he picked his game up, and Terrence Mann and Reggie Jackson, and they just went berserk on Utah last night. So now he's fortunate for getting to the Western Conference Finals, because now a little of the heat can be taken off of them. They can say, well, nobody thought they could do without Kawhi. But they keeping my prediction alive of the Clippers going to the NBA Finals. I said it was going to happen, so it's still alive. So fortunate is my word.
Wow, Red, your eyes turned a certain way when Coach used the word fortunate. So before you use your word, why did your eyes turn a certain way when Coach used fortunate?
Oh, I didn't even realize they did. I'm sorry. No reason. I'm just listening to Coach.
All
I
right.
got my own answer, but I'm listening. I didn't mean for my eyes turn away. Sorry, Coach, for the facial expression.
All right. Now go
Yeah.
ahead.
All right. So what's your answer to it? Paul George is now what for leading the Clippers to the Western Conference Final?
Well, let's see. Paul George is now Paula George instead of Pammy George for leading the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals. Now, hold on now. Paula is no form of disrespect. Paula is a very respectable name. It's better than Pammy, which is some little raggedy nickname from Pamela. I mean, at least I gave you Paula, and Paula is a more respect. Hey, I even dated a girl named Paula before, so Paula is a very respected name, Paul George. So I won't call you Pammy George again. From now, you'll be Paula George. Hey, you got to do more than just win one little series by yourself to get that stink completely off of you. But you deserve credit. You did it. Kawhi went down and you stepped up. You got your team to the Western Conference Finals, and you definitely deserve credit. I won't be calling you Pandemic P for right now. You know, I won't call you that today, but you definitely deserve to be called Paula George instead of Pammy George for getting your team to the Western Conference Finals. Now let's see what you do in the Western Conference Finals. But don't think for a second that you've escaped all these choke job moments because you got over the hump one time, okay? You deserve credit for getting over the hump. You deserve credit for stepping up in Kawhi's absence. But dude, don't think for a second that I'm going to be calling you Paul George until you do something worthy of Paul. You're still Paula to me. Hope you don't become Ringo George after a while, or George Paul.
That's still
he deserves credit though.
Yeah, that's still harsh to call a grown man Paula. I don't know, man. I don't know if Paul George, if he watched the show, would take too kind to that one. But hey, that's your take. Before I give mine, Paul George is now a major surprise for leading the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals. Vincent Woodruff said Paul George is now just as shocked as we are for leading the Clippers to the conference final. And my fill in the blank is Paul George is now making a considerable argument to be called playoff P for leading the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals. Because I will say this, I'll take a little issue with Coach using the word fortunate. I wouldn't necessarily say he was fortunate because I don't think too many people thought that without Kawhi they would beat the Utah Jazz. So with them being the underdog, he actually accomplished something that most people didn't think he would accomplish. So that gives some type of leeway for him to lean on at least the last two games
Mhm.
being called playoff peak. Now, as we are celebrating Paul George, I think it's not right for us to celebrate Paul George without celebrating his supporting cast. I mean, Marcus Morris Sr. shot the ball really well in this series, made a lot of clutch shots all during the playoffs, in this playoff series against the Jazz, which allowed the Clippers to be where they are. Terrence Mann, who saw him putting up 39 points in a close-out situation. So if anybody deserves the most credit for the Clippers advancing, it has to be Ty Lue. Yeah. I think Ty Lue is the one who is showing that the dude can really coach. And he was not just a very good coach for the Cavaliers because of LeBron James. Even when the cards were stacked against him, he has been able to push the right buttons, insert the players at the right time for the Clippers to become who they have become. When they need to go small, he's able to put the right players to go small, to trust Terrence Mann, a young guy, to play that kind of minutes. Like it's almost like what Doc Rivers did with Tyrese Maxey. But Terrence Mann was not forced into action like Tyrese Maxey was. Ty just had to have a feeling that was the best move to make. So I got to give big ups to Ty Lue because he's the one that really should be getting the most credit because he never panicked when the Clippers lost Kawhi. He never said we're in trouble, so forth, so on. He just coached accordingly. And obviously him having an even keel, which probably makes a lot of sense since he did play in the NBA and he probably saw a lot of different things that took place. He was able to coach his team according to who they had on the roster. And they won 2 big games against the Utah Jazz, who really should have been the winners.
I agree, Rev. Ty Lue definitely deserves lots of credit. And if you think back, I mean, throughout the whole playoffs, he's been stepping up when his team really needed him to make game plans or to get them over the hump in the series. I mean, think back to the first round series with Dallas. I mean, honestly, if you ask me, I don't think Doc Rivers would have made it past Utah. Doc Rivers may have not have made it past Dallas with the Clippers team he had. But Ty Lue, you're right. He's proven he's more than just a LeBron coach. I even see some of that gray in his hair going away now, turning back to black again. He ain't so stressed out like he used to be. But definitely he deserves credit. I mean, you got him over the hump versus Dallas when it was looking bleak. Definitely was looking bleak with Utah, and you're losing your best overall player. And you got him over the hump again versus the number 1 seed. All praises deserve Ty Lue. You're proving what a very good coach you are.
All right, Coach.
Fred,
Go ahead.
Fred, let's be honest. The reason you talking about Tyronn Lue because you supporting the light-skinned brothers. That's all.
He is part of the light-skinned crew. And he did play with the Hawks for a while too, so.
Lue is trying to show everybody that, hey, I didn't just have LeBron. He made doing a good job of it too. And if he can take them to the Western Conference, to the NBA Finals, hey, he playing with house money.
No doubt.
If CP3 don't hurry up and get back, they might go because no CP3. Suns don't have. I don't think Suns have a chance to beat the Clippers.
All right, well, you brought him up. Let's talk about it. CP3 is in COVID protocol. Who saw that coming? That even shows us that you can be fully vaccinated and still come down with COVID-19. It's been reported that CP3 was fully vaccinated. And the day after they take down the Denver Nuggets, he is diagnosed with COVID-19. The series starts tomorrow, and CP3 will not be available and may not even be available for game 2. So with that being said, let's go into our predictions. Suns versus the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. We know there's no CP3. Will that those 1 to 2 games that he'll probably miss cost the Suns from going to the Western Conference Finals. What says you, Greg?
Yeah. Yes, it's going to cost them. You mean the NBA Finals?
No, the Western Conference Finals. I mean, we're saying the same thing. They got to win the Western Conference Finals in order to get to the NBA Finals.
Oh, okay.
So who wins the series? Who wins the series?
Yeah. It's definitely going to cost them. Like you say, you're not playing tomorrow. That's one loss. If you don't play game 2, that's what I told you. I don't see the Suns winning one game without CP3. Now, I'm pretty sure CP3 is taking all the tests right now and trying his best to get back as quick as possible. I wouldn't be surprised if they hurry up, and I wouldn't be surprised if they clear him for tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if he get the Nick Saban treatment and they clear him for tomorrow. But that being said, if he don't, I definitely believe CP3 will be cleared for game 2. And if not, if he not clear for game 2 and the Suns go down 0-2, Clippers gonna win this series. That's just bottom line to it. Whatever scenario you come up with, Suns go down 0-2 to the Clippers, Clippers winning this series. So CP3, it's best you get back to your team as quickly and as expediently as possible.
All right. Now give us your prediction. Even with you, I guess you could do it this way. If CP3 is not available, you obviously are giving the series to the Clippers, and how many games?
Well, overall, I can't believe I'm saying this, but hey, I got to call it like I see it. No time for personal feelings. I think the Clippers are going to the NBA Finals. I think they're going to beat the Suns with or without CP3. They definitely going to be without CP3 early on, and when he get back, it's going to be too late to make up any ground. I see the Suns winning this
The Clippers. The Clippers winning. Yes,
I see the Clippers winning this. Clippers will win in 6.
All right, Coach. We know the Clippers are the team that you chose to win, so we know that you're going with the Clippers. And how many games?
I'm going right with Red. I'm going with 6, and I'm looking at something. They said that they will provide an update on Chris Paul's status today. So that could change the whole thing around whether he plays tomorrow or not. They're going to give an update today on if he's able to play tomorrow. But I still say Clippers going to win, even though that Kawhi factor stands out. They're really silent on what's going on with Kawhi as far as if he's going to play or if he has a torn ACL or what. They've been really
I think he's out for the playoffs, Coach.
He's out for the playoffs, man.
Oh, yeah. So I still go. I'm hung with the Clippers. I'm going to stay with them. Clippers 6.
I'm going to disagree with both of you guys. Somebody alluded to, I think it was Vincent Woodruff alluded to the stars aligning for the Bucks. Even with this COVID, I think the stars are still aligning with the Suns. For this reason, DeAndre Ayton's going to have a series for the ages. There's nobody on the Clippers that can guard DeAndre Ayton. Whoever, if the Clippers go small with Marcus Morris Sr., he's going to get abused. We saw what Ayton did playing against AD at the beginning of the series with LA before AD got hurt. He held his own. And DeAndre Ayton, I think, is the X factor. He may have a coming out party. Devin Booker is going to be good. Now, Chris Paul is the straw that stirs the Suns' drink. But what Chris Paul has done, he's helped one player in particular to rise to the occasion for a moment such as this. And that person is Cameron Payne. When the Suns had to muddle through with CP3 battling his shoulder issues with the Lakers, one Cameron Payne still played quite well. Cameron Payne can play well against the likes of Reggie Jackson, even against Terrence Mann. I think CP3's influence has helped Cameron Payne learn how to play point guard in the NBA. Devin Booker The Clippers have absolutely nobody who can guard Devin Booker. If you try to put Paul George on Devin Booker, that's going to hurt him offensively. So who else can you go to? There's no Kawhi. Nicholas Batum can't guard Devin Booker because Devin Booker is too quick. Don't be surprised if Devin Booker puts up a 30-piece this entire Western Conference Finals, because he probably closer to anyone has what we might call the Kobe mentality, the Mamba mentality. And he is going to seize this moment because he knows that these moments for him probably will be far and few in between, because CP3 is not going to be around that much longer.
No.
Here's the other deciding factor right here that we have to take in consideration as we praise Ty Lue. Monty Williams is not a bad coach himself. Monty Williams knows what he is doing. And Monty Williams has definitely asserted himself as the head coach of the Phoenix Suns. So Monty Williams will game plan accordingly to expose the weaknesses of the Clippers. And therefore, in this series, the Clippers are going to lose something offensively because they're going to have to play Zubac more, because they're going to have somebody who can bang with DeAndre Ayton. So that's why I'm going to go with the Suns in 6.
Rev, you forgot about Pat Bev getting on Booker, right?
Pat Bev?
I mean, he there.
Pat Bev coach.
He there for defense. That's all he got.
What defense did he do to stop Donovan Mitchell?
I said he's there for defense.
I think Pat Bev is now in the NBA more off of his past reputation than his present play. So if Pat Bev is the answer, I'm praying for the Clippers right now because they need a better answer than Pat Bev.
Well, Rev, you know Pat Bev is my most hated player of all time. But
I know he injured your boy Westbrook when he played for the Rockets. I get it.
Not the Rockets. That was when they was OKC.
Oh, when he played for the Clippers. Okay, I got you. I
hope he get personally abused, but that's about all they got. I don't know who else. Because like you said, they're not gonna put George or anybody on him that's gonna affect their offense.
Yeah, that would take George completely out of his game, and if he don't show up, Clippers are done.
Yeah. So you all got Clippers in 6. I got Suns in 6, and that.
I think it'll be a good one. Long CP3 show up, it'll be a good series. But he got to hurry up and get back.
Well, I think because they have not put a definitive not play on him, I think there's a very good chance that if he does miss any games, it will just be one. And somehow they may make him miss game 1, but I think he'll definitely be back by game 2.
Yeah,
all right,
they're going to give him to Nick Saban. They are not. They know they need CP3. And if the Clippers let the Suns win game 1 without CP3, I think my whole prediction going to change. So, look, Paula, don't let it happen. Spotlight is on you, buddy.
All right, man. With that being said, let's start wrapping this show on up. Thank you all for watching, and we're going to close with who has the right to do what, when, where, and how. Who wants at it first?
Doggone it. The Hawks, you got a right to start shooting better. You started the series off shooting excellent. And last, 5 games, you just been up and down. How you don't won 3 games in this series, I have no idea. But come on, Hawks. You have the right to at least shoot between 40 and 50% from the field. Make at least 16 to 23-point shots tomorrow. Come on. Give me one decent shooting performance. And if you do that, we'll win. So the Hawks, you have a right to shoot the ball at a higher percentage. Just shoot it better. Game 7. Let's go.
All right, Coach, who has the right to do what, when, where, and how?
I'm gonna go with the Atlanta Braves. Braves, you have the right to decide it's time to make a run in the National League and put yourself in a position to be a contender for that title. Because if you don't, I don't want you to start fading away. You have a, what's the word I'm looking for? Somewhat favorable schedule to make a run. So here's your chance to see what you're going to be able to do. And you got 4 games coming up with the New York Mets. Time to make a run.
All right. And Bucks, Nets, Hawks, Sixers, all you teams have the right to give us a great game 7, something that we can talk about in the days to come. I'm not really going to talk about outcomes, but we want to see good, competitive basketball, no blowouts. Let us see what stars will rise and shine in a game 7. For many of these players, particularly Greek Freak, particularly Trae Young, particularly Joel Embiid in particular, these game 7s are reputation makers. These are games to determine your legend in the future. Kevin Durant is pretty much cemented, so I'm not going to put him in that particular category. While people do want to see him be the lead guy, so this is a legacy game as well for him. Let me put him in the conversation, but it's in a different way. But Trae Young, you want everybody to put you as an all-star next year. You want to make all-NBA team next year. It starts with this game on tomorrow, because you then start having some leeway to be able to do some things if you're not even playing up to par, where you're going to get certain rights presented to you because of winning games like this. Joel Embiid, if you want everybody to trust the process, you got to win a game like this. And Greek Freak, if you want everybody to truly look at you as Batman and not Robin, and not to really think that you're more athlete than skilled ball player, you got to win a game like this. All right, let's see what the Revenites are talking about, and then we will get on out of here as we get ready to conclude episode 194. Vincent Woodruff said Nick Saban is sending his COVID tester to Phoenix right now, charter jet. Vincent Woodruff, you fathers have the right to enjoy your day tomorrow, even though advertisers started promoting Father's Day starting this past Monday. Happy Father's Day, God. You are so right about it. We get no love as fathers. Mother's Day, they do a month campaign. Father's Day, you do know in 3 days it's Father's Day. You know, we don't get any love, but it's cool.
Happy Father's Day, Real.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And happy Father's Day to all those who may be fathers who are watching. Sister Sylvia Harris, Hawk supporting role players have the right to show up. You mean tomorrow, but we get to
I agree, Ms. Harris. They definitely have a right.
Thank you for the Father's Day greetings. Happy Father's Day to you, Joe Black, being a good father, and then Jackson, Florida, and she correct herself tomorrow. Got you. Thank you so much, Sister Kelly Nicole. Everybody, stay safe. Be careful. I ask you all to lift up some prayers for me and my mom. We're about to hit the road, starting our way to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where I'll be doing a virtual conference that I'm leading. So I solicit your prayers, and I just look forward to everybody just being safe and sound and being back with you all next week for episode 195 of the Red and Rev Sports Show. And let me do this before we go in. Thank you all for watching episode 194. Look forward to seeing you next week. Peace out, everybody. Be blessed.